Yeah, thank you very much, Owen. We're back here indeed on the panel. And this, Sayori, was the type of game you were expected to see.
This is what I thought both games would be like. This non-stop, every fight is just chaos, and at the end, okay, 3-for-4 exchange, kind of even. One team gets a slight advantage until they're able to pull ahead. That was the kind of Dota I was talking about.
Yeah, when we were looking at the draft screen inside, like, I remember Sexy Bambo telling me about this offline Tiny all the time. And basically, he just gets phase boots.
Can you do an impression of how he talks?
I can't do accents at all. He's like, people don't understand me, dude. Like, something like that. Like, he said he can't do it a lot because eventually they will get it. But, like, what he does is he gets phase boots and just goes crazy. So much havoc, so no one knows how to deal with it. You know what I mean?
It seems like 4Clovers just had so many ways to reset. You've got Snowball and Grave, and that, to me, was kind of the golden ticket that allowed them to pull ahead after all that chaos. Yeah,
and Pycat, as usual, just like, what, he had 22 kills and 2 deaths?
He was beyond godlike for half the game.
He's just so solid. Like, it's amazing. Like.
It was indeed a bloodbath, and Lumi is wisely keeping his mouth shut because he's saving all his very important points for his luminous analysis.
Single fight. All right, is that the one we're watching? You know, we had about like 20 highlights in the back, but it doesn't matter. So relocate comes in right here.
Mm-hmm.
Go kill the Wisp. Doesn't kill the Wisp, back out. Wait for your cooldown and go kill the Wisp again. Because if you look at how Radiant sustained the fight, it's about Wisp giving the regen, the overcharge to the Bristleback. Yeah. If they just fight the Bristleback head on, there's just no way they could burst him down. He's just way too tanky. So you got to remove the support, and you know he's a squishy one. And afterwards, you can see like traditionally when Tiny gets played, it's the Aghanims on the front line with the AC, and you just whack people.
Yeah.
But essentially right now he's playing as an int caster. So if we could slow this down, right, we're gonna see him jump here in the back. Like, he doesn't care about staying in the front. Bambo's gonna just sit in the back and be like, I'm the best, right? And then he just jump in, and there you go. Like, you just focus on the back line. You don't care about what's in the front, and you just go for kills in the back. So honestly, like, Scriff and I compiled like a 10-minute Bambo highlight reel in the back. Essentially, every one of these team fights are exactly like this. I think after a couple of fights, he gets a 4-staff, where then he could initiate on the Wisp. And he generally doesn't get the kill because the Wisp is very tanky, and then he'll just 4-staff back out. So I guess this is probably the last one we'll watch, even though we have a lot more. Go for the Wisp. He has overcharge on. Oh, they actually get the kill here with Sonic Wave.
They did that a few times, actually. Pycat comboed
up. Yeah, Pycat actually just uses his ult for the Wisp as well, like, or IO. Yeah, he's by far the, I think this is the most exciting one, right? There's like buybacks back and forth. So this is where they trap, and Tiny goes in and just does all the damage. Global comes out, which, by the way, it seems it's very easy. It's like, oh, you stay back in combo. You got to keep in mind that you're playing against Ignite, which has some of the most random multicast AoE. Sometimes you just get a dot on you and you can't blink. There's Global, there's Cool Spray, so it's really hard to play the way that he's playing. You can, like, he's just running past all the carry. It's like, I don't care. I'm going to go for the Wisp. All right, the Wisp relocates out, so he's like, okay, I got to go back in the fight. Now, after everybody is out of the fight, then they focus on Yogi. And it's like, oh, somebody else in the fight? Let's go for him instead. Like, they just want to ignore Yogi and just go for everybody else, particularly the Wisp. The Wisp is going to come back after this relocate. And again, like, Sexy Bambo just has a boner for that ball, right? Like, he's just going to go for him. Like, he gets focused. Again, Pycat focus on the blue ball. They can keep extending the team fight just to kill the supports.
Yeah, it's really amazing play. And this has a lot to do with the draft as well. Like, 4Clovers realized that there's going to be a Tiny Wisp mid, so or a Wisp Bristleback mid. So they're like, okay, let's play a kind of unusual offlaner that can kind of get a bit more out of it. So they're like, all right, it's Tiny time.
Is there anything at this point that Empire could have done? Because at some point, you know, it's going to be obvious for Empire what's happening to their IO all the time. What could they have done? Anything? Sayori?
Well, once you're stuck with that draft, I'm not sure that there's an easy answer. It seemed like the Silencer ended up just not being the pick there. He didn't really get too much done, as well as the Slardar. He was able to farm a pretty fast blink with the support of the Silencer in lane, but once the fights erupted, it felt like the Slardar was almost a non-factor. Sure, you have some amp damage, he had a few crushes, but he couldn't really get in there and fight. You know, someone like a Slark, for example, could have been a little bit more elusive in those fights, do some damage, reset, but Slardar is more hop in, he's committed, and then what's he left with?
Maybe a Glimmer Cape, actually, could have been very huge for the Wisp, just to try and give him, you know, that 2 or 3 more seconds to live.
I mean, I think honestly they want all the early fights that were important to win. The global actually had a big part. Like towards the end of the game, obviously he wasn't doing enough.
Yeah.
But I think the problem for Empire was you won the fights. That's great. And then what? They didn't really take down that many towers. The tier 2s were alive for a long, long time. You can't just draft kind of this run and gun lineup and not expect to take towers afterwards. So I was thinking maybe you get an earlier AC or an earlier Vlad just to make sure, all right, we won the fight. Let's crack some tier 2s. Yeah. So I think that was really the issue. Maybe even build a necro book, right? Anything. Just get some push going on. As the fight dragged out longer and longer, that's where the Queen of Pain, the Tiny, they get more survivability. So your global is not effective, your slaughter is not effective, and then they just outlast your spells and then they kill you again.
Yeah.
What about the silencer support?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I'm always a fan of Dazzle supports, but it feels like on this patch, and especially the patch prior, supports that have the ability to reset and have spammable spells are really strong. Like Tusk Dazzle, constantly have the Snowball available, constantly have the Grave available. Silencer, if you have a really good global, you can win the fight for your team and maybe get objectives after that. But if it's not the perfect global, or if the team takes that advantage while it's on cooldown, then he just feels kind of lackluster.
It's kind of difficult as well when you're playing Silencer against Tusk and against like the Tiny, as he played in that game, like to actually get close and do damage after your global, because you're kind of just a global, and
exactly.
That's it.
Actually, the funny thing was they kept killing the Tiny early on. Like before this great Bambo play, we had a Tiny feed compilation.
He was like 2.
But we actually didn't have time, and every time he was dying, like the Silencer was next to him, so like at a point he was down to like 300 mana just on the base in, but it was enough to do his power, and that's what it mattered. Like eventually he got big, and
Well, we have a chance to talk to someone of 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun. It is Swift Ending that we're going to talk to in a winner's interview. Hello, Swift Ending. How are you this evening?
Hello, thank you for asking. I'm fine.
Good to hear. I was curious. You are now a team for like about a month and a half, or something like that, and it still feels that some of your fights is just Bambo running in and going crazy. And I'm really curious. How is your team dynamic in team fights like that? What's going on your voice communication?
Well, it's basically Bambo saying, just go on them, just go catch them. I'm going in. And then we all just kind of follow. Either that or Pycat. Then they tell me to go in front and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be working out.
And we hope for the best.
For people who don't know that much about you, could you give us a bit of history about you and Dota, like where you came from, how you found yourself on this team?
Well, I played Dota for a long time. Since like the days of Dota 1. I played the leagues in Dota 1 and stuff. I was never like a famous player or anything. And I didn't think I was good enough to compete. Then ranked MMR came out, so I started tryharding. Before that, everybody was playing party and just randoming heroes and stuff. And I got high MMR, over 7k, pretty easily. So how I got into this team is I met Pycat in a couple of pubs. And we played together, and I played against him when I was solo queuing. And then he asked me to join the team. And the other members were already there. So I was kind of the last piece of the puzzle.
How excited were you when he said that to you? Were you like, is this happening? Like, what did you think?
Well, I didn't know who's in the team at first. But yeah, I was pretty excited, of course.
Cool.
All right,
Wanted to get a shot at competing.
If you have to rank your team 1 to 5 best Mafia players, go.
I don't know. I didn't play Mafia with them. I guess I'll rank Bambo 5 because Reddit.
That is the right answer.
And the rest, I don't know. If you rank Bambo 5, you have to give the rest of them like a 2 or something. I guess.
All right, fair enough. Now, I'm curious about what you think about 6.85. A lot of the big heroes were tweaked, and a lot of the underpower heroes were buffed. Were you pretty happy with most of the changes you saw on this patch?
I am. I expected a more drastic patch like the previous ones, but this one was kind of smaller. It changed a lot, but at the same time, not that much. I think the safe lane got buffed because like mango costs less. I like buying a mango on my heroes, and like some heroes I play like Raid King, Sven, stuff like that also got buffed. I like that the Solar got nerfed. I like that the Glimmer got nerfed. All of those cheap support items that gave too much, in my opinion. And yeah, I think the game's going into the right direction. I think 6.84 was really nice to play because you couldn't just farm like in 6.83. You had like to find a balance between farming and fighting on every carry. And I think that's where the skill in Dota lies, kind of, when you outplay your enemy in the fights, use your timings and stuff. So I think the game is in a pretty good place right now.
And the one hero in particular I wanted to ask you about, I asked Illumi earlier, what do you think about Invoker? Is he viable now with those little buffs that he got? Will we see him picked on this patch?
Well, I don't know. I'm not really an Invoker player. You could ask Bycat for that. But I see people started picking him up. I think he can be good. I think Alacrity in lane is now a decent tool to contest the last hits because his biggest problem was the laning phase and not doing enough until some levels and items. So I think that's remedied a bit. He can work.
Cool.
Okay, well, we're going to give you a bit of a break because you're going to be playing against Ninjas in Pajamas in the next series. Thank you very much for talking to us, and of course, congratulations on your game just now, and perhaps until after the next series as well.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the interview.
Thank you too. Have a good evening. Good luck. Okay,
What a
that was
polite man.
a very polite man. That
I
was
think he's the
really-
only one that's ever said thank you for the interview.
Wow.
What a guy. Swift ending. He's won my heart.
It's
Yeah.
good. You know, Dota players, you often expect them. If I haven't heard an interview, I always expect, okay, one-word answers are coming. But that was
Yes.
Yeah.
that was incredible. You know, those were
He
thoughtful
built up the
answers. I like
story
it.
of how he got into the team. Like, it was awesome.
And he has the perfect story of an underdog.
Yeah.
Just playing pubs, and all of a sudden, Pycat, of all people, asks, hey, dude, you want to join my team?
Isn't that similar to how Admiral Bulldog first got
Yeah.
connected with
Yeah.
Alliance, where he was
Indeed.
basically a pub star? And
Yeah,
I mean, guys, underdog story is just OTI5. Like, CDEC done it. Now it's
now it's
Yeah.
over.
Oh, come on.
now it's just like overrated stories. Like whatever.
I think it's a human nature to root for the underdogs.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
definitely.
I think that, for me, Swift Ending, yeah. He's hit that underdog.
Can you really
there.
call him an underdog for a
I
7K
don't
player
think
though?
you can
Like,
call him, you
Yeah.
can call him not an underdog, but more like a Cinderella story. Right?
How many 7K players is there that aren't in teams?
if Shane joined the pro team, and then was ripping it up, then be like, that's an underdog story.
Cheers, I think. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I always think of Excalibur as well. I don't know how many people remember Steve
Yeah,
from when he
yeah,
stood in
yeah.
with Fnatic. Was that Summit 2, I think? Summit 1? I'm getting
And,
my Summits
TI
confused now.
One of
TI three,
Four.
four.
No, TI4. It was
TI4.
TI4. So it was
that
Summit 2.
season,
Yeah, it was that summer break when he was off school. It was the same thing. They're like, we need a stand-in. Let's look at the ladder. Excalibur. Okay,
I
let's
like
try
how
him
you
out.
don't
Yeah.
remember which TI it is, but you remember which summit it was.
No, it was the other way around.
Oh,
It was
okay.
TI4.
TI4.
But, you know,
Yeah.
they all run together. Summit 1,
I'm
Summit
just
2,
trying to stir up drama.
Summit 3.
We need more drama. You know.
Lumi, please.
Good flames, Lumi. Good,
Okay.
good
Nice
work.
try.
Yeah.
We'll give you another try later
Cool.
on. We are, of course, having another series later today. It is going to be Ninjas in Pajamas taking on 4 Clovers. But before we go into a break before that game, I am going to ask Shane once again to pick up his mother boat.
Okay, so I actually didn't get it back in the box.
It grew outside the box.
Yeah, it
Okay.
expanded. It was the air and the water in the air. Or something.
People say you shouldn't touch the motherboard.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. That's why I feel bad. But I earthed it myself somehow.
Okay.
What's wrong with touching the motherboard?
You can, if you are slightly static,
Yeah.
and you give it like a tiny thing, you can break the whole
You
thing.
know, people said the same thing when we built the computers for Summit 3. Where's the static bracelet? I did not wear a static bracelet,
what
and
this
I did
is.
not short one
All
single
you have
computer.
to do is touch the, like a radiator.
No,
and
it's
you're
I
done.
have my static bracelet on.
That's not a static bracelet.
It's a static
but
bracelet.
nice try.
He's got his static bracelet on, guys. Come on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, it is a motherboard, and you can win it if you go to facebook.com/ROG Nordic, and you fill in which hero you think is going to be the best
It's
over this week.
It's a pro gaming motherboard. It literally says it on it.
I specified it, Lumi. Are you happy?
I mean, I'm sure the next one you say it's going to be different.
No.
It's like, which hero do you like the most?
No, which hero is going to be the best this week?
But the
And
best
then-
based on which metrics? Could a support
Doesn't
hero be
matter.
the best?
Yes, of
What
course.
about items? Like if the guy bought nice items?
Yeah,
is
how
that-
do you equalize
It's
it?
about the hero, not about the guy. The hero. Yeah? Cool.
Okay.
And you put it in on facebook.com/ROG Nordic, and then you put also in a motivation of why you think that hero is the best this week. And Sayori will select the hero on Thursday.
Me?
Yeah.
Nice.
He is
that was
not-
the fake surprise.
He
That was
is
beautiful.
not bribable. You cannot bribe him for
I'm
the motherboard.
unbribable. No one will ever know what I want.
What do you want?
I can't tell you.
Otherwise,
guys
it
are-
would be
then they'll know.
bribable. Yeah.
You guys are roommate for 2 days. Maybe you'll find out what he
That's
wants.
true. I'll inform everyone so they can bribe him.
Or you're gonna bribe the, you know.
Yeah, I'll win.
You can do that too. I think you just have a different Facebook account because I don't think you can do it on your own Facebook account
That's true.
because otherwise, you know, conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to have a short break before Ninjas in Pajamas taking on 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun, and we will be back very shortly. The game will start at 9 p.m. But I believe we'll be back before that, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes before that. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more games.